the longest Valorant pro games in history. In the world of Valorant, every round is a battle, working hard towards that one victory. Unfortunately, things don't always work out that way, and losing one round could make you lose it all. For those that play the game for fun, like myself, hopefully you don't really experience those intense emotions, but the same can't be said about pro players. Games where the stakes are the highest and the pressure is relentless, pro players have their own realm where a split-second decision could mean victory or defeat, and every single shot counts. They're completely locked in, and the energy they are putting into the game is so high. Now imagine maintaining that for 45 minutes on a normal full Valorant game on stage, or 30 minutes for an average game, is already going to be difficult enough. Now what if you like 2 times that, or 3 times that? How long could they stay locked in? How long could it be a close battle? Today you will learn about the closest and most intense overtime games, as well as the longest games in Valorant.
The trades themselves leaving it all. Chronicle, and Chronicle's left.
The Fnatic really upping the pace.
Some of you may have even watched these live back when they first released. Kicking us off, we have Optic vs Boom Esports on Breeze, Opening B Valorant Champions 2022. Now this game is obviously filled with clutches, creative plays, standout performances from both teams. Breeze's wide open map with long sight lines, making it essential for teams to pick agents that can excel at both ranged engagements and map control. Optic decided to go with a composition that gave them a lot of long range capability and tons of information gathering. As the first map of the series, Breeze set the stage for an intense strategic encounter, ultimately pushing both teams to their limit and straight into overtime with an absolutely exhausting but thrilling outcome for the fans. Optic, starting on attack, quickly asserted control over the early rounds. Once again, having a demon using chamber will get you really far back in 2022. Viper excelled in establishing site presence with her talk screen and snakebite grenades, often cutting off Boom's defenders and creating lanes for Optic to enter and plant the spike. Boom, however, adapted quickly, even managing to pick up a few rounds with aggressive plays and solid teamwork. As the end of the first half approached, Optic had a slight edge over Boom, but things were intense, things were close. Boom came into the second half on attack as they displayed a noticeable shift in momentum. Boom's aggressive pushes, securing entry frags, and using Jett's mobility to overwhelm Optic's defenders was working very well for them. That strategy allowed Boom to close the gap that Optic had created, with the following rounds increasingly getting closer and closer for anyone's comfort. With the pressure at its peak, overtime rounds began, and Boom's experience with composure shined through. After an intense overtime, Boom clinched the map with an 18-16 scoreline. A very hard-fought win that demonstrated their strategic depth and individual skill. Coming back is one thing, but coming back with such a long game is an entire other thing. The VOD 1-to-1 from round 1 to round 18-16 was 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 22 seconds of pure strategy, locking in, changes in gameplay. Like, these players played 3 separate games within one game with different strategies and adjustments to keep each other guessing. An insane and intense overtime to start off this video. Next up, we got DRX versus Fun Plus Phoenix EMEA on Ascent quarterfinals. Valorant Champions 2022, man. Valorant Champions 2022 kind of going crazy. Alright, so the DRX and Super Team from Korea against the underdogs FPX from EMEA. Most people had expected an easy victory for the Korean team, but FPX continued to showcase why they shouldn't be underestimated. Both teams entered the map with distinctive playstyles that would make for a close and thrilling contest. Ascent, known for its balanced design and high potential for mid-control, was an ideal battlefield to kick off the showdown. On Ascent, both DRX and FPX chose agents optimized for control, intel gathering, and explosive site entries. Giving them the tools needed to perform well on this map, FPX began the match with a strong attack side, executing well-coordinated pushes that disrupted DRX's defenses. FPX ended up taking a slight lead early, but DRX were far from giving up. DRX realized that their strategy wasn't going according to plan and adjusted midway through the match. Securing control over mid and tightening their site defenses, the mid-game rounds became more of a back-and-forth affair, with both teams trading rounds and taking advantage of each other's small mistakes. By halftime, DRX had leveled the score, setting the stage for a tense second half. The 10-second half decided to go a little bit longer than expected as they entered overtime, and that just heightened all the intensity that much more, with seemingly the teams needing absolute insane clutches from their players to make any sort of win happen for both sides. The overtime showcased how insane the right player on Chamber could truly be, Artis with a 1 HP clutch to keep FPX in overtime.
Spike recovered, 24 seconds now. He's going to creep up on the side. He wants to plant. He might actually get it as well. Okay, one goes in and gets to dip away. Does get marked though. Prowler, not a problem just yet. Another. No way! Oh my God! The man can do no wrong! One of the greats to stand on this stage so far!
Ultimately, after multiple overtime rounds, DRX managed to clinch the victory on Ascent with a 19-17 scoreline. The win was a testament of their adaptability, coordination, and individual brilliance, giving them crucial momentum heading further into the series. Next up, we got Fnatic versus the M3 champions on Split, third map at Champions Tour Stage 1 EMEA Challengers. Fnatic has been dominant pretty much since the start of Valorant, and it's due to their amazing ability to bring it back from the worst possible scenarios. Now, Fnatic and M3 champions battled it out in a neck and neck on the third map Split, known for being one of the most competitive and intense maps. Split offered the perfect stage for this high stake encounter, but high stakes is one part of the show. It's basically always high stakes. It's about diving into how this becomes an unforgettable overtime map, unfolding into key plays that made it super remarkable. Split has so many points that need to be controlled, and the team's compositions reflect on that heavily. As the game started, the first half showed both teams delivering exceptional rounds, with the Fnatic showing initial dominance on attack. They coordinated their plays around the map, utilizing Split's high ground and tight choke points, simply taking advantage of keeping it close. M3 champions, however, were not far behind here, as they began to pick up steam by holding critical positions and adapting their defense to encounter Fnatic's aggressive pushes. As the match wore on, neither team gave an inch. Round after round, the score remained tight. No leads and comebacks, a beautiful equal match, literally building up like dominoes to an electrifying 12-12 scoreline that pushed the game straight into overtime. Fnatic held a strong defense, securing an early frag and gave them an upper hand. Their defensive position was impeccable, covering key choke points that prevented M321 champions from taking or establishing map control. However, M3 champions took advantage of Split's verticality and choke points, effectively using smokes and flashes to isolate Fnatic players on advantageous 1v1s for them. After several nail-biting rounds, it all came down to an intense final overtime round, with both teams clearly exhausted but determined. Fnatic's meticulous coordination in the last round allowed them to finally break through M3's champions' defenses, securing that victory and advancing to the next stage. This overtime match between the two at the EMEA Challengers was one of the ones for the books. And I absolutely mean that. It ends 23-21, truly highlighting the absolute intensity that Valorant could provide. Just for some context, Derek on Raze had 46, 33, and 10 on his score line. That was number one, but the average kills was crazy. I'm just gonna read it top to down. This is every player and their kills. 46 kills, 34 kills, 28 kills, 27 kills, 17 kills. Then on M3, 33 kills, 35 kills, 32 kills, 29 kills, and 23 kills. Valorant can absolutely be insane. Honestly, the pro scene is filled with a lot of stories, and to wrap all this up, we have a First Strike Brazil B4 Esports versus No2B Esports. This is kind of weird. This happened in patch 1.12, so it's a little bit of an old boy, and it's the longest overtime we have recorded, but we can only find it on VLR.gg. It went on so long, 30-28, that apparently Valorant themselves disconnected the match at a certain point. I'm not entirely sure if we can fact check this because it's hard to find anything about it online other than the scoreline being recorded by VLR.gg, but theoretically 30-28 would put this at the #1 spot for the longest overtimes in history when it comes to pro play. So I think it deserves a mention regardless if me or the writer couldn't find footage, but either way, let me know what you think about all these games down below. Feel free to provide feedback as we are brand new into the space of pro play and sort of trying to make videos about pro plays. I'm just intrigued by the stories they can tell and hopefully delivering those stories to you guys.